Social media, find them, friend request them, DM them, email. First thing that we do is make some connection. How do we know this person? We may not know them, but how do we know them? You know, hey Cedric, this is Joe. We're connected on LinkedIn. Like I live outside of Bozeman, Montana. Hey, I'm actually in charge of all client relations in Bozeman, Montana. I wanted to touch base with you, especially if you're brand new. Like sit down, dial for dollars, and find out what that.
Hello. Welcome to another knowledge bomb episode of Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential and together change the world. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have Joe Rare. If this is your first time joining us, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell and hit that like button. This will be greatly appreciated in helping getting out this content to great leaders and great individuals like yourself. Joe is an underground, serial entrepreneur, investor, outsourcing expert, father, and husband. He currently owns 4 digital companies, 5 wedding venues, and real estate investment properties. Joe's journey began with a door-to-door product sales business, which grew from a team of 2 to 40 employees in under 2 years. He has since then built multiple 7+ figure companies and built a strong and growing real estate portfolio. Please help me welcome Joe with tips on building an online company.
This is Cedric Francis, and you're listening to Lead to Greatness.
My name is Joe Rare. I guess I've been coined as a serial underground entrepreneur, meaning I kind of just build businesses and do projects in silence.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge social media person. I'm not like some influencer. I just like executing business growth and building companies. And, I'm very much a visionary. Something that I really, really enjoy is kind of the beginning phases of building a business, from the idea through the execution, seeing if it turns to something real, and then going, okay, let's build a real thing out of this, and then letting my team run and do it. But probably my biggest, kind of claim to fame is that my companies, we just launched our 6th company. Wow. They are 95% run by virtual assistants in the Philippines. So I don't work that much for somebody who's what sounds like I should be as busy as I am. And so we've been able to create a model that allows us to build businesses over and over again using the exact same kind of structure. And then we can have, our team run it. It's been awesome. I could burn myself out in a minute just with what I feel like I could be sitting here doing all day. I could burn myself out in a second. I could work 15, 20-hour days because there's that much to do, and the team is able to execute on that. So the team is necessary. Now, how do you build a team that's effective? Oh man, you fail at it a whole bunch of times until you figure out how it works for you. For me, I hired my first team member virtual assistant in November of 2008. And I've had at least a handful of them working with me every day since.
Wow.
And so I've been doing this for a really long time, and I've made every single mistake that you can imagine when it comes to hiring, when it comes to firing, when it comes to how you create, the right ecosystem, how you allow your culture to thrive. Or in the case of failure, it doesn't thrive. So, some of the things that I've learned is that I'm not a great leader of staff. So when it comes to our team, I know for a fact, I have to have somebody really good at managing people because I'm not great at it. Now, give me 3-4 core people. I understand how to guide and manage those people. I'm not phenomenal at guiding big groups of people. And so I put people, and I found that out how, because I sucked at it. And I didn't succeed with it very well. And then, so you put somebody in place and it's like, oh my gosh, that relieved it. That was the key. Wow. And then you do it again, and then you do it again. And so my answer is you go fail at it. There's tools and strategies and things you can do, but failing is a good way to find out what your core strengths are. Because a lot of us think we have strengths. I thought I was a great leader, right? If I look back in sports, in high school, college, like I was a leader, but that's different in business. And then it becomes different when you change your ambitions.
Yeah. And I like the way you said that, because you talked about team, but you basically, your weakness and knowing your weakness and really being honest about it, because like you said, sometimes we fool ourselves, but being honest with our weaknesses and then hiring or partnering with someone that can take care of that weak area of those blind spots.
Yeah. And, I could easily invest enormous amounts of time, resources, energy, trying to become that amazing leader. But the reality is that going to help everybody else? Well, no, it's going to slow us. We're not going to be able to progress as fast as we want to, which means we get to hire less people, which means we get to provide less careers, which means we get to provide, less for families. And, our mission is to to just continue to hire and continue to provide for people and create opportunities. I can't do that if I'm sitting here trying to be selfish and just struggle through this growth pattern. I'd rather recognize, Joe, you suck at this, put somebody in place who's better, and then we can continue moving on. My superpower is from 0 to 1. So what a lot of people don't do, like it could just be an offer in your business. It could be starting a new business, the starting from 0 and then getting to somebody gave us money and we actually have a real thing now to talk about. Yeah. Okay. Like we just launched a business. You can kind of see it in the background here, visitormatch.com. We just launched this business in 60 days. And the goal was, let's figure out if people will give us money for it. That's the first thing. Everybody's got these ideas and then they want to go ask their friends. Hey, what do you think of this? What do their friends say? Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, friend, give me money. And then we know that it's real because you're willing to pay for it. So I like the idea of somebody going, okay, we don't have a business. We don't have a brand. We don't have a website. Maybe we've got a landing page. And then we go out and we say, hey, listen, here's what we're doing. Here's what the value is. Here's what we're going to offer it for. Is this something we can support you in your business? And then so we do that and we provide the service and we go, hey, they're willing to give us money. They're willing to give us money. So we went from 0 to approximately 20 customers. We had 19 and we went, okay, here's a business that's doing about $20,000 a month. We don't even have a website. So now we're at 1. Now we can actually go, let's build a brand and let's like actually grow this and scale it. And now we're continuing to grow and it's rocking and rolling. So from 0 to 1, I think is my superpower.
Let's talk about that. So you talked about having this idea and then seeing if, would people pay for it. Let's kind of talk about that process and going from the idea to getting, you say you have 20 customers. What did you do? What was the step A, B, C, D, E, F, G in getting from 0 to 20 customers? So
we found something that I felt it solved a gap in the market. And I went, okay, I think there's something here that's valuable because I would pay money for it. And so since I'm willing to pay money for it, could we make this valuable for somebody else? Like I already know right off the bat, with, I own an agency as one of my companies. If I were to offer this to my clients, they would give me money today, right now. I know that for a fact. So I said, okay, I'm talking to my team, my sales team, talking to my operations team. And I say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is an opportunity that we can go to our existing clients and say, hey, listen, here's what we can do. Here's the value it's going to provide in your business. Here's the price point that we'd like to do a beta launch with you on. And we're going to implement it. If it does what we believe that it's going to do for you, that we've already been testing ourselves, obviously internally, this is a home run for you and you're going to love it forever. And we're just going to provide more results for you. So what do you think? When they said yes. So, right. I mean, we literally went from like, hey, this sounds pretty good. Let me talk to my team. Guys, here's what I think we should be doing. Let's go talk to everybody we already do business with. So we went out to them and we said, hey, got on the phone. Hey, I have an idea. I want to talk to you. Okay, great. Share details. I made a video on my phone and literally just made a video and said, hey, let me explain this to you. This is what it is. I didn't even have a page. I didn't have payment processing for it, had nothing. And I just said, hey, client, this is what we have. And this is what I think you should do. Here's the price. And they said, okay, great. Let's do it. A couple people said, no big deal. We moved on. We kept going. Then it became, okay, well, now we talked to a bunch of clients. That's easy because we have a rapport. Now let's talk to somebody who we don't know. So then I put people in place. And I said, okay, your job, I need you to dial 100 people a day. And I want you to find out if somebody will buy this. So people sat around and they dialed 100 a day. I had other people, hey, I need you to email, and I want you to send 1-to-1 emails. And I want you to send 100 a day. And you're going to touch base with 100 people. And when we started getting sales rolling in, and it was like, okay, people are signing up for this, we're like, okay, this is real. And we're not even doing anything. We're going, here's a list, cold call, set an appointment, get an email, set an appointment. And then, then we have our close, my sales guy closing, and it's like, okay, yes, people actually do want this. This makes sense to them. Now let's refine our offer, refine our pricing, build a brand around it, which is name. What's the business name going to be? What are we going to call it? Yes. What's the branding going to look like? Yeah. Let's put up a website that's simple, but explains what the product does. And then let's launch. And so that's what we did.
Joe, that is a load of knowledge. This is so crazy because you have a lot of entrepreneurs. The first thing they do is create the logo and all these different things. And you did totally opposite of all that.
Well, I've done it, and we've done it over and over for different things that that I do, because I'm not putting a bunch of effort into things until the market proves to me that what I have to offer is valuable. If they're not going to pay for it, I can't go build it. So I want to create customers. And then here's the cool part. All of those customers, they paid for the development of the company. Right. They paid for I'm out of pocket zero for that. So because we got paying customers first. So
yes. So for example, you have clients, already paid clients that you introduced us to. Let's talk from what advice would you give to someone, a startup entrepreneur that don't know anybody? All they know is their family, right? All they know is their family. And I've learned one of the worst things you can do is use your family, because family, they love us and they're not going to tell us the truth. Listen, Lead the Greatest, with two of us saying this, do not. When they tell you it's good, they love you. Yeah. They just encouraging you. But getting past that aspect, like, okay, you know what, Joe, Cedric, okay, I know not to go to my family because I know that's a mistake. So what do I do?
So like, let's create a fake scenario, and who's the niche that you're going to serve. So first things first is choose a niche. Mm-hmm. Who is your service or product going to be for? And so if we were to pick and let's make one up and say, I want to work with plumbers. So great. Now get a list of every plumber in your city or in your region, every single plumber, all their name, their email, the phone number, so you can reach them. And then quite simply, social media, find them, friend request them, DM them, email, send them an email, create context in the connection. So here's one of the cool things that works really, really well in this is that when we do this kind of in cold outreach initiation, the first thing that we do is make some connection. How do we know this person? We may not know them, but how do we know them? How do we have any connection to them whatsoever? Maybe it's, hey, Cedric, this is Joe. We're connected on LinkedIn. What are the chances you're connected on LinkedIn? Probably pretty good, right? Yes, sir. And if you aren't, they're going to be like, oh, are we? I don't know. Right. I got 750 or 1,000 people following. I don't know. Right. They're never going to think twice about it. So that's one thing. Okay. We're connected on LinkedIn. If you're not, it could be like, I live outside of Bozeman, Montana. Hey, I'm actually in charge of all client relations in Bozeman, Montana, right? Or in Montana as a region, right? So it's like, so I handle all accounts in Montana. I wanted to touch base with you. And now you and I are having a dialogue. You can do that via email. You could do that via text. You could do that on the phone. Like, actually, I mean, guess what? Some people still talk on the phone. We should try that again. Pick up the phone. Yes, especially if you're brand new. Like, if you're brand new, you have nothing but time.
Yeah.
So sit down, dial for dollars, email for dollars, DM for dollars, and make connections and find out what that connection can be. LinkedIn, you're connected on LinkedIn. Hey, we're both in, members of the Chamber of Commerce in Bozeman, Montana. Hey, we're both, or I handle all accounts in Montana. They happen to be in Montana. There it is. There's the connection, right? And now you're not a stranger calling, you're a local. You're something. We're already connected. And so then you ask him, hey, here's what we've got going on. You're a plumber, and I'll use, Visitor Match as an example, right? You're obviously running some ads, or you're trying to generate new business. You've got a website. People visit your website and they leave. Most people, 90 to 95% of people, leave your website without giving you any information.
Yeah.
We have a product, Visitor Match, that we could put a pixel on your website. We can then give you the contact information. We can match everybody who visits your website, 40 to 70% of them. We can match it to user profiles and give you their name, email, and phone number. Would that be helpful for you to have more leads? Obviously. Would it be helpful if we could help you increase your targeting and your advertising? Yeah, it's super inexpensive, very cost effective, huge ROI, boom. And that's it. Like, that is what you do. And then they say yes, they say no. If they say no, boom, on to the next. Jam. And I say dial 100, email 100, DM 100, and do that every day. And you'll have a business doing $20,000, $50,000 a month with ease.
My goodness. Knowledge.
There you go.
Boom. Oh my goodness. This is good. This is good. I want you to do something. Let's talk about 3 different people, 3 different entrepreneurs, 3 different visionaries, 3 different individuals. One have $10,000, one have $1,000, one have $0. I want you to parallel maybe that one in the middle, $1,000, $10,000, $0. And if you was to give them advice, what advice would you give them collectively, and how would you separate and say, you need to do this, you need to do this, and you need to do this?
All of them should pick up the phone and dial. All of them. Here's why. Guy with $10,000 will burn so fast, right? $10,000 is not enough money to say, I have a bunch of money to burn.
Gotcha.
Keep that money in the bank so that you can advertise when you're ready to start spending money on ads. But you, at $10,000, you still have time on your hands. If this is a new venture, who should know the sales side of it inside and out? So here's what I could tell you. When we launched Visitor Match, what I did is I called my clients. I called and said, hey, Sherrill, I have this thing. I want to share it with you. I want to tell you about it. I think we should do it in your business. Joe did that, not my sales team. Joe did it. I don't operate my companies, but I did it because it was brand new. So guess what? So I'm listening to her questions and I'm like, okay, she doesn't understand this. Okay. So when we get into an audience that has no idea what I'm talking about, here's some of the questions that they're coming up with. That's great information to give that to a sales guy, because now he's like, okay, I know what they're going to ask. We create FAQ videos. We've got those dialed in. We can send them to people. They can hit our website. They can see them. So I would tell all 3 of those, dial, pick up the phone, dial, jump in front of email, send out emails, and do them with context. Don't do them where you're just mass blasting people. Sit down and write 100 emails. You can use a template, but contextualize it so that you go, hey, Cedric, I know you have a plumbing business that's located in Three Forks. I don't know if anybody knows where Three Forks is. Nobody knows where Three Forks is. Yeah. But if I use that in context, he's like, oh, the guy knows who I am, right? Hey, and I know you service this area. I would love to chat with you about this. I have this idea. I want to share it with you. Boom, done, right?
Yeah.
Just that context, adding that context is unbelievably valuable. Most people are still doing the cold email. They're just mass blasting thousands of people. And what do? You get people who are frustrated. They're like, unsubscribe, 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 So that's what I would do. All 3 of them, I'd tell them to do the same thing. I don't think any of them have any clout at 10 grand, at 1,000. You don't have anything. You need to dial yourself.
Joe, that is a knowledge bomb. Joe, you're helping us. You're really helping us on here. I want to talk about level 9 virtual. I want to talk about that, to using that number. So we know 0, 1,000, and 10,000. Let's use those same 3 people. Okay. At what point should you consider hiring a virtual assistant and scale it?
Well, obviously, if you don't have any money, you can't spend any money. But if you have $1,000 and you have stuff on your plate that has to get done, flat out, it has to get done. I need graphic design work and I'm not a graphic designer. You're going to have to outsource that. And so my company, Level 9 Virtual, we're a virtual assistant services company. We've been doing this forever because I've had VAs for 17 years, 16 years or something. We've been doing this for a very long time. So we have a project on demand service. We call it pod. So we have a projects on demand service where you can just buy a block of hours and say, hey, I need 25 hours. I need a logo created. I need a landing page created. And you can submit these tasks. People who do this every day for hundreds and hundreds of clients will do this for you. They are specialists. Hey, I need a video edited. I need some shorts created, like whatever it is. We have all of it. I would outsource the stuff that will let you go from 0 to 1. So as much as I would like to say, hey, it's a little bit easier if you're like, hey, I have a landing page, check this out.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just send you here. There's a video on it. This will help you. Right. This will help you understand it. If you can have that, it's just a little more ammo. I don't believe you go full scale and you build a brand and you've got, your brand guidelines and logos and all. I don't think you do all that on the front end, but I do think a landing page is helpful. I think some sort of context around what you're doing is helpful. But that's what the $1,000 person does. You buy a projects on demand type service, similar to like Upwork, right? We just happen to do it in-house and you don't have to guess whether somebody can perform. We've done it thousands of times. Yeah. If you have 10 grand, I still don't think you have enough money to really do work, right? If you're only making 10 grand, I think you can outsource some, you can get somebody dedicated, but I would still look at that project level. What are the stuff that keeps coming up? You're like, I need video reels for social media. I need to create some video. I need this. I need this. All those little things that keep adding up that you think hold you back from actually executing, get them off your plate. Outsource it, pay somebody to get it off your plate. Yeah. All of it. Get it done. If you want to scale and you're like, okay, I got 10 grand and I'm ready to freaking grow. Yeah. My biggest problem is I don't have time. Now it's time to invest to give yourself time back. Yeah. So one of the areas that I would invest is I would get a dedicated VA, which we obviously offer, dedicated VA that's going to work directly with you 40 hours a week. And I would get a utility player. What we want is somebody who's going to handle the minutia. So I don't check my email, never. I haven't done it in over 5 years. Somebody combs my email to only give me what I should be looking at. Wow. So most people in the morning, they get up, the first thing they do is they grab their phone and then they go through and they kind of purge their inbox, right? And they go through all those things. Never. Somebody else is purging it. Wow. My first thing when I get up is I go sit with my wife and we chit chat and we hang out and are throwing the ball for the dogs and my wife's messing with her chickens and all that kind of stuff. Amazing. I'm spending time, right? Because in the morning, there's so much more value, right? And so I don't want to be bogged down with work because how many times does something amazing show up in your email? Right next to never. So it's like, it's fires. Yeah. It's going to be negativity. It's going to be to-dos. Yeah. That's not the way you start your day. Yeah. And so I have somebody do that. Then they handle all the stuff, scheduling. I mean, like somebody's sending emails on my behalf for you. And
amazing. I was actually thinking about that, the adjusting the scheduling or whatever. I'm like, wow, okay, I got you. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. Joe, knowledge bomb. You're really, really, really helping us here. I want to ask you a question. How do you effectively manage virtual assistants remotely?
So, I mean, if depending on how many you have. But it's pretty simple. Everybody's in Slack. We do time tracking on Time Doctor. And so it's a platform designed for time tracking for remote work. So, there's screenshot monitoring, all those things. So we can make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, we rarely have anybody who doesn't, but we're doing all of that. And so it's time tracking. We have a payroll team. I mean, we're just at a different place. When it was early days, we had an ops manager that was in charge of everybody when it was just a few. Yeah. And so one person was my operations manager and they managed all the VAs, they managed all the departments because there weren't that many people. Yeah. As the company's grown and we're in, we have hundreds and hundreds of VAs, right? We have different divisions and departments and marketing and sales and finance and, HR and ops and, fulfillment and all that. It's different when you grow, but in the early stages, I just get somebody who ends up being like your right-hand man, gal, whatever, and have them oversee the team and provide, they help build the relationships and maintain the relationships and manage the, whether people are showing up on time and all that stuff. And they do time tracking and all of that. And one person can typically do it if you have a small team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the start. If there's not a lot of people, you do it yourself.
Yeah. If a client was to sign up and connect with Level 9 Virtual, what can they expect?
First things first is immediately upon signing up, you'll get contacted by either somebody in operations who's going to be your placements manager. They're going to be the person who connects you with the right VA for you. So you're going to have a questionnaire to fill out that gives us an idea of what you're looking for. If you're hiring project-based work, that's just like projects on demand. You'll get connected right away with a project manager, and our lead, our project management manager, the leader of that crew, he'll reach out first, and he'll be the first person that touches base and says, okay, great, we're going to connect you, and let me introduce you to your project manager, who is Juan, or if it's Marvin or whoever it might be, right? And then you'll get that connection. Then from there, your project manager is your dedicated go-to. They're going to make sure that you have your access to our platform, Asana, that we use, so you can submit your tasks, and you do all of that right there. Super easy, direct contact with one person. We make it very, very easy. On the dedicated side, you'll have a client success manager. That's who will be placing you with your VA, and you'll work directly with her to get set up. We'll match personality profile with the skill set you're looking for and make sure it's a good fit. And then that's who we connect you with. I mean, you can start with the to-do list that you have going on in your head every day. All of us as entrepreneurs, we have a to-do list running constantly. And most of the time, today's to-do list gets pushed to tomorrow. And it does that for months, right? So then the first thing that I can tell everybody is that you can eliminate that to-do list. And so what I like people to do is like, let's get this stuff out of your head, write it down on a piece of paper, type it out in an email and say, look, this is the crap that I got in my head that I got to get done. And here's the interesting thing. Some of it you think like, oh my God, this has been like dragging around. It's not really worth paying to have somebody do it. The moment that you get it off of your to-do list and it gets completed, whether it was worth having it done or not. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff you're like, we didn't even need that. The fact that it's done and out of the way relieves so much headspace. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I can think now. All that stuff is off. Okay. Total waste because we didn't need it, but it's out of my head. And guess what? Now all of a sudden you're making better decisions. You're seeing things more clearly, right? Now all of a sudden you can define the right value and the right, where to put your resources. So that's one thing. The other is just the areas of your business that you need support. So back to the very beginning, the very first part of the conversation, what are you good at? Well, there's a lot of people who are not good at running ads. They might need some help. There's a lot of people who are not good at copywriting. They need help, right? We provide all those. All of that can be done with virtual assistants. I don't do any of it. Every single thing you see that involves Joe or my companies, I didn't make it because I don't know how. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with a clear head. And especially because when, a lot of people, when they get stuck and they've got so much stuff on their plate, or they think they have stuff on their plate, most of it isn't as necessary as they think. And sometimes just the act of writing it out and submitting it, they'll realize like, oh my God, like half that isn't even worth it. I don't need it. And then they come back and they go, hey, don't do that one. We don't need that finished. And then what did it take? It took, okay, I'm going to put money to this. I'm going to pay $500 to have somebody go do all this work. And then they go, whoa, wait a minute here. That one right there would cost me $100 and it's useless. Okay, scratch that. It's also practice in delegating. For nothing else, you get the stuff out of your head, you get the stuff off your plate, but you also get practice delegating. As entrepreneurs, for some reason, we oftentimes think we can do better. Oh, you want it done right? Do it yourself. Well, guess what? I would rather somebody do 70% as good as I can and have it done than for me to mull that over and over again and then never execute on it, right? Let's get it 70% finished. So that's how I think of it.
If someone wants to connect with you and what you're doing, where should they go?
Two places. You can go to, if you're looking for virtual assistants, level9virtual.com. So level9virtual.com, easy place. You can book a call, button in the top right corner, super easy. or I'm always available at joerare.com. So JOERARE.com.
On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, we want to thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us all.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.